all his subjects were around, and we went and sat back, and we got to hear a Guru's story from the Guru's mouth only. It was so beautiful. You might have all heard about this when he was traveling to Tamil Nadu, right? He was traveling by helicopter, and some of the devotees said, let's get the helicopter to turn back. You might have heard this story sometime back, right? This happened in Tamil Nadu, and he was telling the devotees' sankalpa is so khatarnak. They decide something, and the Guru has to do it. So this story he first shared in Ganga Kutir, and we all got to hear it. He was sitting and nicely telling us.
You share in detail, because a lot of people doesn't know, Vijaylakshmiji, what happened, how Guruji came there.
Yeah, so he was supposed to go to one particular place in Tamil Nadu, and he was crossing, over, I don't know the name of the places. He was crossing over one area where advanced course was happening, and the teacher, along with the devotees, the participants came out and said, see, Gurudev's helicopter is going. So one of the devotees said, let us, Tirumlama, will get Gurudev to turn back and, get him to come here. That was what he had told. And then this helicopter got into some technical snag. They had to, force land at a particular field. And then Gurudev had to take a car. And the person who was driving the car, he had a sankalpa that he wanted to drive Gurudev around in the car. So his sankalpa also got realized that day. Then they went into a village. The whole village had come. It seems no rainfall in that village. But when Gurudev came, it was raining. And afterwards, Gurudev sent the helicopter back. Then he went through so many places around there. He met those shopkeepers who had this sankalpa that they wanted to see Gurudev. Then the temple, they wanted to call Gurudev for Kumbhabhishekam, but Gurudev couldn't come. But now Gurudev had come. So everybody's sankalpa was fulfilled. And then finally, this advanced course participants, he came there also. And, he was sharing this experience like as though it was a wonder for him itself. He was telling, see, Gurudev, the devotees have such sankalpa. It is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. He was continuously using that word. And the next day, he repeated the same story in Yajnashala, where Bhagavad Gita was happening. And same enthusiasm he was telling. So devotee sankalpa should not be for such things, he said. Make it for big things. Otherwise, it is very difficult for the Guru, he said finally. And so that was the most memorable ever. It's a very unforgettable experience for me. I felt that when we are in seva, the Guru takes care of even the smallest desires, because I would never ever imagine that I will get into Ganga Kutir like this, get a piece of cake from him, sari also, and then lots of blessings through these stories from his own mouth. So it was amazing experience. So I can relate to this knowledge sheet a lot. The form also and the formless also. Yeah.
And I heard you organize a lot of DSNs, Vijaylakshmiji. Can you share your experience, how DSN blossoms?
DSN blossoms, yes. I got the blessing of volunteering for a lot of lesson programs with Anandji, and I'm not a person to talk like this in front of so many people, but he made sure that I spoke to not one, two, but hundreds of people, not in one DSN, but so many DSN. So I was working with him since 2003. He's been my basic course teacher. After that, he made sure I one after the other hammering was there. But through DSNs, yes, breaking those comfort zones to see the days flowing. I really miss organizing DSNs. Honestly speaking, I really miss, because so many things that I myself, thought was my limitation, I couldn't do. I could see that I was crossing over it, be it talking to people or, suddenly from nowhere, people coming and saying that I want to register. Both sadhana and knowledge and satsang, all went in hand, and it was great to have the and DSN will break all the walls that you put around yourself. You can't talk, you'll be made to talk. You can't get registration, you will be made to get registered. It'll all happen, provided we are open to it. Yeah, to get fried. That's the DSN. Yeah. Anything else, Srinivasji?
Any intimate story also you can share, personal, Guruji.
There are
What-
many actually. I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
10 minutes was given.
No, you can speak. You can speak.
Okay. So how I got into the ashram is also another guru story. I hope nobody is getting bored, no?
No,
Because
no,
I
no.
can go on with stories. So it was after a very long time that I was applying for a job. It was almost after 8 years of break. And so it was very, very critical that I had to get to a job. But the first call that came to me was from the ashram. And I was like shocked. They said, okay, you're Vijaylakshmi, we saw your resume. Can you come over for an interview? I was like, I haven't even started floating my resume across. Where did they get my resume? How did they get it? All these things going. Next day I went there. And it was supposed to be a darshan day. And yeah, I went to the HR office and they said, we found your resume in Naukri. And you know what? I had uploaded this resume 10 years back. 10 years back, I had uploaded the resume. And, at that nick of time, they had given me a call. And then they spoke to me. I said, I'm in need of a job and it's very urgent. So if you can get things moving pretty quickly, it's good for me. And then, they said, okay, this position is, I had a very small child and he was around 4 years, I think. So I was telling them I have some conditions, I can't work during, weekends and all that. So the position for which they wanted to interview me, I didn't get through because of these conditions. They wanted somebody full time, not a mother, who would be required back home. I said, okay, fine. I came back. Again, they called. When I was reaching the gate, again they called. And they said, you have to go to another place. There is a position for you. Since my background is HR, I went there. Immediately they selected me. Everything was done in flat 1-2 hours. They said, you have to join. Okay. And this was like, because I hadn't expected to get the job within 1 day. And this happened just within, few hours. And then I joined the support center and it was at the office on the Hilltop Road. It was an amazing journey. We used to get to meet Gurudev every evening because his car used to go there, satsang, everything. And throughout the journey, it was like, as though that force was guiding, saying, you go here, this is the place for you. The constant, you feel that from inside, right? So that was my other guru stories. Yeah. And how I got into art of living also, that's another amazing thing. It was not meant for me. I actually wanted my parents to do the course because somewhere they had advertised that Sudarshan Kriya improves interpersonal relationships and all that. And at home, my dad and mom were at constant fights. So I read this and I thought, okay, if Sudarshan Kriya improves interpersonal relationships, then for mom and dad, it is a must do. So I registered for both. And unfortunately, they did not agree to do the course. I had to go, that's the advantage of taking the money because then you're forced to do it. I went and I pulled my sister along. That was the first thing. I did the course and it was a life changer post that, after that it was totally different. My parents, my sister and all did it later. But yeah, that was, and there was no intro talk to me. It was just outside this Raghavendra temple. We do this pamphlet sharing, right? For the course, we stand outside temples and giving. That's why even one single pamphlet is so important. We never know. He gave the pamphlet, not one thing you do, Sudarshan, not one word. He just smiled. He smiled and he gave the pamphlet. That's it. And then I did intro talk is so powerful in science also. That was it. Yeah. That's it, Srinivasji.
Yeah, super. Nice guru stories.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out.
You can stay.
Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare.
Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. नारायण नारायण जय जय गोपाल हरे
जय जय गोविंद हरे 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 जय जय गोपाल हरे
कृष्ण गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
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 जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
बाल गोपाला प्यारे मोरे मोरे नंदलाला
बाल गोपाला प्यारे मुरारी मोरे नंदलाला
नंदलाला नंदलाला नंदलाला मोरे नंदलाला
नंदलाला नंदलाला नंदलाला मोरे नंदलाला
बाल गोपाला प्यारे मोरे नंदलाला
बाल गोपाला प्यारे मुरारी मोरे नंदलाला
नंदलाला नंदलाला नंदलाला मोरे नंदलाला
नंदलाला नंदलाला नंदलाला मोरे नंदलाला
कृष्ण गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
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 जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
जय मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला
जय जय गोविंद हरे जय जय गोपाल हरे
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 जय जय गोपाल हरे
जय जय गोपाल हरे
देवी जगदम्बा
देवी जगदम्बा
देवी देवी जगदम्बा
देवी देवी जगदम्बा
देवी दयामय त्रिपुराम्बा
देवी दयामय त्रिपुराम्बा
देवी दयामय त्रिपुराम्बा
देवी दयामय त्रिपुराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
अम्बा मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
अम्बा मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
देवी देवी जगदम्बा
देवी देवी जगदम्बा
देवी दयामयी त्रिपुराम्बा
देवी दयामयी त्रिपुराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
भगवती भैरवी भ्रमराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
मानस रंजनी मधुराम्बा
देवी जगदम्बा
देवी देवी वा।
देवी दया त्रिपुराम्बा
देवी दयामयी त्रिपुराम्बा